what's up, BUZZNET? This is Kerli, and Moon Children have asked some questions, so I'm going to answer you guys' questions. When will the video for the lucky ones be out? Well, we're about to shoot the video next week, so it will probably be out as soon as possible. Stay tuned. What will the video be about? Some of you know already what the Lucky Ones is about, and it's a very, very intense, crazy personal story. So the Lucky Ones video is going to be super different actually from everything else I've ever done, but I don't want to give it all away. What I can say is it's going to be more real life than I've ever done, because it's very easy for me to create fantastical concepts and costume and whatever, but this one I really, really wanted to bring it back to earth. So it has a beautiful message, and again, stay tuned. If you had to choose between making music for your fans or writing for other artists for the rest of your life, which would you choose and why? This is a difficult question to answer because songwriting is where I feel the most at home. Like when I can just sit here in my temple and write songs, then this is where I feel the most connected to my purpose. But I want to do both, and the stuff that I write for other artists and the stuff that I write for myself is very different. I usually don't write for myself with other people, but it's really fun to write for other people, with other people, because you get all these different energies in the room, and I have a lot of people coming over here to write with me, so as long as I possibly can, I want to do both. If you could describe your life up until now in one word, what would it be? I think up until now, if I had to pick one word only, it would probably be overcoming. But I'm really, really getting to a place where the word that describes my life is the state of love, striving towards love. Like I always try to be in a spot where I'm spiritually focused on my purpose and don't like really let the other noise and opinions and criticism, you know, affect what I do. So I'm fastly moving from a state of struggle to a state of complete peace at all times. How do you approach songwriting for another artist? Well, writing for other artists is really, really, really fun, because I have a very solid idea of who I am as an artist, and what I would say and what I wouldn't say, and what I'd wear and what I wouldn't wear, and how I handle my business and all these things. But when you write for other artists, you can almost take on other bodies. It's like being an actor. Like you can take on different roles, and I actually often write. I have a conversation with a friend or something and they'll tell me a story. I often write from their perspective. I put myself in different bodies. It's a lot of fun, because you also get to do the things that you wouldn't necessarily do as an artist because it doesn't quite fit. As a writer, I want to know if it's difficult for you to write your songs. How do you create such great sounds? It's strange with songwriting, because what it is, it's essentially a skill. It's a craft that you acquire. Like when you're a skier, you go and ski every day. That's how you ultimately get really, really good. So as a writer, it's the same thing. I started writing professionally like 10 years ago when I got my first publishing deal, and you just work on your craft and it becomes easier of how to, you know, say words and how melodies and whatever. It becomes easier over time, but there's always that element that no matter how good you are, you can't force. It's when the divine comes through. And a lot of writers actually say that, oh, I didn't even write this song, it just came through, and I kind of just like witnessed it or helped it, you know, be born into this world. So pretty much what I always say is you have to show up. You have to show up and sit there, writing, playing, whatever, and then sometimes, maybe once a month, is when the divine really shows up and gives you. It's almost like a little test to, you gotta be there for the magic to show up. So you just gotta do it a lot. How have your experiences changed your point of view on life over the years? How is living in LA different than in Estonia? Oh my God, this is so crazy. I can't really say it as a one sentence answer of how have my experiences shaped me over the years, but let's say if I even look at myself like 5 years ago, I've become a lot more peaceful. I really believe in love. I have a lot of faith. I believe in innocence. Like the more I get burned, the more I learn. You know, people sometimes become bitter. I try to become more innocent, and even when it comes to business, I really try to focus on what it's about. Love and music, to me, is what it's about. So I try to focus on those things only, and I don't think that innocence comes with or has anything to do with being naive. I think innocence comes with wisdom, because it's a better quality of life for me to go around in the world and expect great things from people and situations than for me to go around and be suspicious and stressed out and whatever. So how is living in LA different than in Estonia? It's absolutely different, because I'm also not from a city in Estonia. I'm from a small village practically of 5,000 people in the middle of the woods, and the more time I spent away, the more of a culture shock I actually have every time I go back, although I lived there my whole life. It's very absolutely different. And there are things I like about LA, like there are things about American culture that I love, like celebration, that my culture doesn't have. It's not a very good touch to show your emotion, or like you can't really cry in front of people like when you're too happy. I remember being like too happy in school. The teacher would be like, well, what are you so happy about? So it's kind of like a more repressed culture. I like that here it's more celebration, but it's a lot of BS here that, you know, in cultures that are more laid back and just keep it a little more real, we don't. Like when people let you in Estonia, they let you in. When you're supposed to meet somebody up in Estonia, like you'll meet them up, like because you agreed on it. Here in LA, I feel like people can't really say no. So I'd rather have people tell me no than say yes and then not do it. So this is one thing about LA that I can't really connect with, and I just really hope I don't turn to. I never become like that. Do you still have the Dolphy from the Walking on Air video? No, unfortunately I don't have it, and I never had it. It was a woman that came over that made this doll and, you know, made all the clothes, and then it was just taken back. So unfortunately I don't know what has happened to the doll. I would love to have it though. What are your favorite books? Oh my god, I have a lot of books actually. When I moved to America, I had 2 suitcases and one of them was full of books. So I have a little mini library. I still have a lot of books in Estonian here in the house. My favorite books probably are like metaphysical and spiritual books, which I've been interested in since I remember myself. And when I was a kid, I used to go to my local library in the woods in Estonia, and I used to find like all this esoteric literature. So I read everything that I could find, and this is probably the stuff that I love reading.